Come find out one of the easiest ways to magnetize your Imperial Night Titan.
Spiky bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Ron Bear, and today I'm going to show you our new revised process on how to magnetize your Night Titan so you can get all those dope points of articulation and do the robot with your Knight. So here's pretty much what every project starts out as, all the stuff on sprue. Now, like I said, this is going to be the CUSTODES Knight from SHAPEWAYS, so we got all these dope SHAPEWAYS upgrade parts to put on here. But this is more of a kind of like a recap on the magnetization tutorial we did, I don't know, like a year or two ago on the Night Titan. Now, I've kind of refined the process a little bit, and I was going to show you that, but I also came up with 2 more points of articulation on this particular project that I never talked about before, that I wanted to show you guys and give you some pointers for everybody out there that's going to be picking up Night Titans and kind of putting them together. So first off, here is where we're at on the project. So we've got these joints all magnetized up. Now, all of my magnets kind of run together. So let's give you an idea of what size magnet that is. It's going to be, well, let's see. Let's see, for all of you folks out there to divide by 10, this looks to be a 6mm magnet, give or take, roughly in diameter. And for us silly Americans that can't seem to grasp that concept of dividing by 10, this is a 1/8 inch magnet, roughly. So there you go. Or no, this is a quarter. Excuse me, that would be 1/8. So this is a 1/4 inch magnet right there, because there's your 1 inch mark. And you can see here 2.5 centimeters equals 25 millimeters, which would be the size roughly of the normal infantry size bases that we all have come to know and love. So most of these joints right here, very easy. You just kind of drill them out. Now at some points you're going to need to just clip down a little bit of a sprue and stuff in there and just kind of dry fit the magnet until it kind of locks into place. And then you just glue the sprue in, hit it with a little kicker. And the trick with the kicker, which we're going to show you too, is to just take it out of the bottle and get a lot of the juice out of the end. And then you're just going to kind of dab it and press the end here, which I can show you right there. So liquid is going to come out of the end when you depress down on the plunger right there. And what that's going to do is that's going to solidify the little sprue piece along with any glue you put in there. But you got to be careful when you're working with these joints here. Like this one was fine. We still got all the movement and everything, even though I put a little piece of sprue down in there and still made it flush so it would fit up into the top arm right here, right? So that's kind of where we're at. But you need to watch out for things like this one that's like super articulated. With the Reaper chainsword, I did not realize that the glue would seep down. It got down into this joint. It actually spilled out a little bit right there. I got to clean that up before we start painting on this. A little got out right there, and unfortunately it glued into place when I dropped the kicker down in there. So now we have the Reaper chainsword in this position. Well, it really isn't that bad because you can still kind of move the arm and twist it, but you just want to look out for stuff like that. So all of the joints have this 6mm or 1/4 inch magnet right there. Now you're probably like, wait, what's that white stuff? Well, once you make that interface in there with the sprue, there's going to be some area that may or may not cause a torque on your magnet as you're snapping and putting these into place over the life of the model. Well, it could come free. So what I do was I took VALLEJO's plastic putty. It comes in this toothpaste kind of tube, and we filled those recesses and then just kind of wiped it away. And over the course of like 3 or 4 hours, it solidified into place. Now some other little magnets to show you, just to keep it real, is we put a larger, actually that's the same size, so there's a 6mm one right there, and a smaller, let's see what size that is. Like I said, I don't know these sizes right off the top of my head. That looks to be a 1/16, and gonna be what, a 2mm magnet in diameter right there. So to give you an idea of that, so all the top carapace weapons are attached using those magnets right there. And then last but certainly not least is going to be your Super Magna Melta. Oh, that's actually a bigger magnet. So this was another one that we had to put a big piece of sprue in there, and I think I used a little T-piece that I cut. It almost looked like an I-beam without the bottom eye, and that actually set that one up beautifully. But we used a smaller magnet right there, and this larger size one, which is probably like 1/4 of an inch. No, that's way bigger. Holy cow. So that is, wow, 3/8 of an inch. That's a ginormous magnet right there. And for the rest of you folks out there, that is roughly 9 millimeters. Wait, is that right? Roughly 8.5 millimeters, give or take, up to 9. 9 would definitely do it. You can see there's some gap space right there that we filled in. But what that's going to do is that's going to allow both this weapon to lock in there and the crazy double pew pew battle cannon. So that one worked out pretty good, and I think we used the same size on the torso right here. Yeah, we sure did. So that one will get you locked in there, and he's got a little bit of a canter to him, but then you can just kind of, when you twist it, he'll just kind of do his thing. So I like it. It's a little off canter, but it's not that bad because he is definitely posable. So let me show you where we're at project wise that we haven't covered before. So we've got these great Shapeways pads to put on here, and it doesn't necessarily, you know, this isn't just about Shapeways, of course, but this is what we're going to put on here, these Custode pads, or Imperial Knight pads, whatever you want to call them. And the problem I had in the past was magnetizing these arms, or if you just leave them non-magnetized, like you just slot it in here, it's a pain in the butt to take these out, right? It's super hard. But granted, if you have this part magnetized, maybe you don't really need to take these out, right? It's just kind of one of those things like, what do you need? And I was just like, you know what? Let's just cut to the chase. Let's just go ahead and magnetize this. This isn't going to require any drilling or anything like that. We're just going to need to put some magnets in here, probably get a little piece of sprue, and then just glue a magnet right there and build a kind of a substructure around it using the VALLEJO plastic putty. So that way we can clip these little nubs off here, because eventually they'll probably break off anyways through just, you know, natural use. I've broken a couple off over the nights I've had for, I guess I've had one since 2013. So we're going to start there, and then the other half of the project is going to be, we've got this dope Talon right here, which is so fresh looking. You know, this is the Custodes upgrade. These are Shapeways upgrade parts right here, and I glued them in to this hand. But here's the thing. It's not as cool as it could be because it's only like right here when you glue it in. So what I'm thinking is there's that nice big recess right there. We're just going to add a magnet here and a magnet there and be good to go. And then that way we'll have the super kung fu grip action that we can twist and turn and have all sorts of dynamic, crazy poses with this Talon. So those are going to be our two options right there that we hadn't covered in the past that I think is definitely worth talking about. So the first step of any magnetization project is to line everything up and make sure you're good. So I was looking at this to go in here, and I realized once I put my magnets into it, because always measure once, glue, or measure twice, glue once, whatever the old adage is, I could tell that roughly this is going to be roughly 5 magnets deep. I don't have 5 magnets. I have this many magnets of this size, so I feel like we're going to have to make this work. So what I did was I went and grabbed the centerpiece to a sprue. Now, a lot of times you're going to have these in the middle of sprues. This is like the ejection port or something where some sort of robot arm punches the sprue out of the machine after it's cast. At least that's what I think it is. But there's a lot of sprues have these solid areas in the middle. So I grabbed one, cut it down some, and now what we're going to do is we're going to create a superstructure in there to fit the magnet. So after a little bit of wiggling, that's what we came up with, and it gives us enough room to have that piston moving in there too. Now we just have to glue it down and attach the magnet. Oh, and now we know it'll only take 2 magnets, 3 total, and we'll have enough for this project because you can see right there, it'll be flush. So there it is. Got it locked in, used a little bit of KCKER, but mostly glue and concentrated right down here so we didn't jam up that gear right there. Now the second step of magnetizing anything is to actually get the magnets out and apply those. Now we don't have to worry about polarization quite yet, so we're going to grab our grip of magnets here, grab some of this KCKER like I showed you, apply some KCKER over, actually I probably shouldn't be holding that, but we're going to put it in a little dunk basin, so to speak, and just make sure we get KCKER all over that. And what that's going to do is make it a little bit easier to magnetize. When we apply glue here, we're just going to stick it on there and work it a little bit. So part two to the second part of magnetizing anything here is to actually apply the magnets. Now normally we check for polarization, but again, we don't have to worry about that because we haven't glued anything down yet. So we're just going to apply some glue in the middle right there. I'll let this set for a second, start to twist, and once you feel the stack of magnets starting to twist outside of the one that's touching the surface that you just applied glue to, then you know you got a good stick. And because this is going to be a stack it's going to be a stack 2 magnets thick, I'm just going to separate it right here from the surface and grab our body. We're going to have to work this a little bit more. There's a lot of strength here. Well, here, I'll just show you that is stuck in pretty good. And now we've got those, and now we got our polarization. So if this goes onto here, then this end is going to be what we glue onto there. So always check your polarization, not once, not twice, but 3 times before you start gluing. And then you check your polarization. Very simple. So I knew this was a little off keel when I looked at it. I was like, oh crap. So I matched up the slots and glued it down. I did get a little bit of glue in the recesses there that would have probably affected the rotation. So I got in there and had to scrape it down. No big deal, but as you can see, it moves around freely now. And that's going to give us a very easy way to switch out the arms and everything and have some dope movement that we might not have otherwise had, and not restrict anything and or cause damage to the shoulder pads up there. So that's maybe not necessary with both of these magnets, but no big deal. Now the very last step is going to be to secure your magnets themselves. Since I already know I have a little bit of an issue with clearance on this side, I'm only going to use the VALLEJO plastic putty on the 4 side right there. So I'm just going to put a nice bead around here, and it's okay to get it on the magnet. It will just kind of wipe right off very easily, but you want it to kind of overlap onto the magnet so you know that it's getting around that lip and getting some good grip right there. So kind of like that. Then make sure you dab off your nozzle. I'll leave it right there. And then you're going to want to clear off your magnet so you don't have any connection issues, because this is made out of marble, a little bit of rock and stuff in there, so it is going to have a little bit of strength to it. So you're going to want to be as careful as possible with any contact surfaces here when you're working with trying to secure down magnets. So I'm going to come in with a like a toothpick or something, work that a little bit better just to get kind of where I want it for 100% for sure. And then we'll go and secure the other one right here. So we ran into a bit of a surprise when we cut out this rounded joint here to attach the talon to magnetize like we showed you earlier. So this is a great example of, well, I guess if you had to drill that out, well, that would be pretty easy and simple right there. You just mark your X, drill your pilot hole with a small pin vise, and then get your main drill out, hopefully a power drill, and drill into it, carefully holding the sections together. However, that was not the case. There's already a hollow cavity there. So now we're just gonna follow our tenets, get our that magnet that we showed you earlier fits perfectly. So that's gonna be easy. Now, the only question is we're gonna have to stuff something in there. So I pre-cut a little piece of sprue here. So we're gonna spend a few minutes putting that into position to create a brace for our magnet that will then we'll glue the reciprocating magnet into that recess right there. And after a few minutes of positioning, a little application of glue and kicker down in that recess, we have ourselves a winner. And I just copied the polarization from up here, so everything's an inline polarization in case, I don't know, just to be consistent, I suppose. So now I'm going to take my stack, turn it on there, figure out what magnet needs to go into here, and glue that down next. And there we go, we've got that all magnetized. I ended up doing 2 magnets in there because that's what made it flush. So you can always check your magnet stack, put a little glue in there, had it stuck on here. One of them I was like, oh, that doesn't work. So then I put another one on there, added a little bit more glue, and lo and behold, it worked. I'll probably fill that in with a little, probably a little bit of VALLEJO plastic putty in there just to get a nice secure fit. But for now, it's definitely where we want it to be. And gonna get that sweet, sweet kung fu grip action now all over the place on this talon of the CUSTODES. And then of course we've got our magnetized piston up here that we didn't glue down either. So we got all sorts of crazy poses available to us on this particular Titan right here. So that's pretty much it. A nice little recap on how to magnetize your Knight Titan with, or your Imperial Knight. I guess it's been retconned by now. Your Imperial Knight with a little bit of update to how to get these arms on here just so. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed our latest tutorial feature, how-to tutorial here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe to us, turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all of our content here on YouTube, and head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the 8th edition battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, VIP downloads, and of course 8th edition army list. Become a veteran of the Long War today.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. TheLongWar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.